Why you should sign up for an event or challenge, even if you feel like you're not ready.
You might end up completely changing your body shape without having to really think about it because you're training in a structured way, eating better. So many things just kind of check off the back of you actually just signing up for a half marathon.
I did High Rocks with Liam. Everyone's there to have fun. You've got 5-10 people saying you need to keep moving. No one is looking at you like, oh my gosh, they're slow with this. No one cares. You're coming in for yourself, not for everyone else. You see these fit people and you think, oh my gosh, they're doing it in this time. But the saying is that comparison is the thief of joy, and when you start comparing, that's where you lose the joy out of it.
I'm not good enough, I'm not fit enough, I'm not strong enough, and everyone's waiting for this special moment that they're going to suddenly feel like they're ready, quote unquote. People have families, people have busy work life. Just being realistic with what you can do and what you can commit to.
How do you get over that fear of failure? Hello and welcome to the T2 Fit Talks podcast, where we aim to educate and inspire individuals to achieve their full potential. I'm your host JT, and today in episode 27, we're going through the exact reasons that you should be signing up for an event or challenge, even if you think you're not quite ready to do so. And to do that, I'm joined by two people who know events and challenges pretty well, and that is Coach Amy and Coach Dillon. How are we?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah?
Very good. Feels like I haven't been on the seat for a little while. So
I know, it's the first time doing a podcast back in Causden for a while.
I think my last one was when I first joined.
Do you know what it probably was? How long ago was that now?
Last year, April.
Time's flying.
Yeah.
Time is flying. Time is
Scary
flying.
in this place.
It really is. So I'm obviously joined by you two. You both know events and challenges pretty well, and probably actually becoming rather quickly the go-to mixed doubles team of T2 Fit, potentially Croydon. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I don't know how. I was thinking about this morning actually, because we're thinking of doing High Rocks Madrid, so that will be quite a few challenges this year together. And I was thinking this morning about how that happened, and obviously when I came back after mat leave, Dills was the one that I didn't know and hadn't worked with, and then suddenly we've just started doing athletics and running and High Rocks potentially. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a duo that's worked.
Yeah. I think there was so much talk around how you trained before. Obviously, when I didn't know you, so your name was going around, and I was like, she's on serious.
I think it was less about how she trained and more about the competitive animal. I think potentially more to do with that.
Less about how she actually performed and about what she talked about.
We got the competitive bit. Dills is like, yep, sign me up. So what I want to know really, is there a team name yet?
I think we just the duo, really.
Yeah.
No, I need at some point we're going to need a team name. Maybe even in the comments, team names. Put it out there. Let me know. Yeah. So look, we want to talk about obviously. Well, let's start with that. Give us a little bit of an insight into just some of the competitions, I guess, that you have both done. And we'll start with you.
Just over the years.
Yeah.
I kind of, when I got into the industry, I think I've said it before in some other bits, that I did obstacle course racing. That was my thing for quite a few years, 3 or 4 years. And I loved it because it was really varied. Got to use my running, which I enjoyed, but it wasn't just running. I got to work on strength so that I could work on obstacle specific stuff. And I really liked that it was like a skill element to it. So I did that for a while. And then as kind of functional fitness events, if you can call them those, kind of bursting onto the scene like turf games and NFG, I got wrapped up into those. So I did quite a few of those. And then High Rocks, and have done a few of those, and now kind of flip between High Rocks, athletics, and trying to keep my hand in running. So we've got the half marathon coming up in September. I guess I've done quite a bit.
I know, that's what I mean.
More just because I love something to train for. So I find it quite motivating to have something lined up in the diary.
Nice. Dills, what about you?
How far back are we going?
Well, just a brief overview of all the things that you kind of turned your hand to, I guess.
Okay, cool. So from school, it was just always being in sports competitions all the time. And then from feeling that sort of environment, I think it just carried on through to adult life as well. So my first comp was a calisthenics one. It was held at Brixton Street Gym, and I think, I forgot his name now, I think Terrell Lewis was the guest judge there. That was amazing. And after I got the buzz from that, then it was more so like turf games, like like the off CrossFit comp, not official, but you go there, put your name on the board and do what you can do. And then now, I think becoming a coach and having more understanding on things, going into things like high rocks, which I never thought I'd do, affects with Amy obviously, and then a half marathon, which I definitely think I could do like ever. I guess I'm pretty young in the competitive space, so I'm still kind of getting ready to see what I can do really.
So between the two of you, actually, you've covered quite a lot of ground in different disciplines, I guess, which is great because I think it helps you, obviously, when you speak to members here and anyone listening in this. I think it gives you a lot of, I guess, credibility that you kind of know what you're talking about, which is great. So let's think about someone who has maybe listened to the intro, like why you should sign up for an event or challenge, even if you feel like you're not ready. And potentially this podcast is especially if you feel like you're not ready. Mm-hmm. What's going to kind of make someone's ears prick up a little bit here and go, oh, that's me? Like, what would you say the biggest misconceptions when it comes to booking an event or doing a challenge?
I think it has to be like, I'm not good enough, or I'm not fit enough, I'm not strong enough, and everyone's waiting for this special moment that they're going to suddenly feel like they're ready, quote unquote, which arguably you could probably never be fully ready. We're not talking about being elite athletes here. These are kind of events I think generally now are pretty inclusive. So I think doing it and booking it and having something to train for, and almost as well with these events, which I think is so great, which is why High Rocks thing's taken off, is that you can do it, have a first go at it, and then you can do it as many more times as you want to after that.
Well, if you get tickets.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe High Rocks is a bad example for that. But I think that, and I guess we get, the point I'm trying to make here is that mainly, like, because we get that in the gym a lot as well. People say, like, I'm just going to go out running before I come to the gym and lose a bit of weight or get a little bit fitter before I start. And it's like, actually, you don't really need to do that. You can book something that it has to interest you, obviously. You don't want to go for something that's not going to interest you at all. So you have to have a little bit of a spark there for something that might spark your curiosity. But then I think just people thinking that they're not good enough is like the biggest reason why they don't actually go for it in the first place.
Dills, where do you think that comes from? Where does that stem from? Those preconceptions of that kind of stuff. Like, I'm not ready. I'm not fit enough. I'm not strong enough. Like, is it a social media thing? Like, where does it all come from?
I think it's just the fear of failing. A lot of people, when you sign up for something, obviously you want to do your best at it, and I think social media does play a big part, because you see these fit people and you think, oh my gosh, they're doing it in this time, they look amazing, and they're very easy to compare. And when you start comparing, that's where you lose the joy out of it. So I think the fear of failure and comparison is definitely what kills it. And if you can just take that out and just think, I'm doing this for me, I don't care what time I get, when I go across that finish line, I've done it, and no one can tell me otherwise. It's all about perspective. If you look at it like that, you can do anything. If you start comparing, it goes downhill from there.
And I think a lot of people as well, to add on to that, have got like such a lack of confidence, maybe from like prior experience with being at school, for example. Like, we've already done like team sports, competitive sports, but like if you haven't had that background, or if you've had some negative setbacks along the way where you felt like you've been, I don't know, you've done some kind of running race and you felt like you were the one at the back or whatever, there's a lot of like unconfident attitudes and mindsets going into this, thinking like, I'm not the sporty one, I'm not the fit one, I'm not going to be able to do it. But actually, once you go to these events, you will see that they are actually really inclusive, and actually no one's looking at anyone, they're just getting on with it and doing their own thing. But I think that is like a really big deal for people when they think about signing up for an event. I think a lot of women, typically, not to gender stereotype, fall into that camp as well, just like not feeling confident enough that they could take on something like too much of a challenge in that regard.
You mentioned High Rocks. I guess it's actually a very good example of their marketing, I guess, really showing a broad range of people and abilities participating in their events, which is great. Do you think more events, I guess, have, what's the word I'm looking for? They should be publicising more variety, because actually, like you say, that when you actually go to these events, you see the floor full of different people, different abilities, shapes and sizes. But then again, I come back to the social media, I guess, to a certain degree. I think they only really show maybe the top couple of like 1%, 2% to try and drive, maybe a certain type of person to these events. Do they have a responsibility, do we think, to maybe publicise it better?
I think so, because at the end of the day, you want everyone to take part, and if you're only going to show the top 1% of people, you're not helping your situation there. When I did High Rocks with Liam, I was in the warm-up area, and it was just, everyone was talking. I was surprised. I thought everything I saw from online, it was like, all right, serious, you're in the warm-up zone, you're not talking to nobody, no one's friends here, it's all v all. But I had a chat with a guy that I've never known before, and we got to know each other. I was like, yeah, good luck with the race. I actually saw him in the race. He cheered me on, I cheered him on. And if that was shown, people understand that it's okay. Just go and everyone's there to have fun. No one is looking at you like, oh my gosh, they're slow with this. No one cares. If you're in the Elite 15 and you're slow, so they're going to care. You're not getting to the Elite 15, I'm going to be real. But if you're just going for it, trust me, you'll be fine. Fine.
Is that an issue? Just turning up and just completing it?
I think it really depends. I think on the one hand, you've got like the extreme, like no preparation, no thought into it, no planning. You're probably like not going to do yourself proud, because it's all about doing yourself proud. But on the other end of the extreme, you could overthink it, overplay things in your mind, over plan and then never do the thing. I think there's probably like somewhere along the spectrum that you could be, where you go, do you know what, that's a bit outside, that's probably a bit of me, it's a bit outside my comfort zone. I might find it really hard, but then start to, like, once you've booked it, put a bit of a plan in place to train for it, give it a really, really good go, because everyone wants to put their best effort into it. And yes, you might not get the result that you want, but then you'll get the result that you probably feel like you deserved by doing that. So I think it's a bit of a, you want to be prepared to some extent, but don't overthink it. I'm a bit more of a like, book tomorrow, then we'll make a plan. Like, because I don't overthink things, but I think you can overthink a little bit, and it stops you doing stuff.
So we'll kind of come away from the competitive space just for a quick second. So when someone comes into their, I guess, fitness journey, we'll call it that, comes into the gym for the first time or starting anything fitness related for the first time, what troubles do you think someone will face, either in experience, like we've had with, either ourselves or with actually coaching someone? What are the typical things that someone new to a fitness journey, what they're going to face?
I think the most common one that I've come across is just having an over expectation of yourself. So thinking, right, I'm coming into this gym, again, like I said, comparison. The saying is like, comparison is the thief of joy. If you keep comparing to yourself with people that have been here for 2-3 years, why would you do that to yourself? Come in, know, all right, where am I? What's your goal? What am I trying to get to? It's yourself. It's not yourself versus everyone, it's just yourself. Learn that and understand that you're coming in for yourself, not for everyone else. I think if you understand that, I think it will be a little bit better, definitely.
Ames, in your experience, what kind of things have you heard or dealt with, again, for newbies coming into their fitness journey? What has been their kind of real barriers?
I think, like there was said as well, but perspective and like the constraints of time and realistic lifestyle things that are going on. We're trying to get people to do these events because we think it's really good for them, but they're not elite athletes, and none of us are elite athletes. We don't get paid to do these events. That would be nice. But what I'm trying to say by that is, people have families, people have busy work lives, people have other things going on, and just being realistic with what you can do and what you can commit to and what you're able to sacrifice to. I think that's quite a big thing.
Yeah, 100%. There's definitely a few things, when we think about the newbies that we have here, either just new to our gym or new to fitness in general. There's a few things I wrote down. Like, we hear it all the time that structure in terms of what it is they're going to be doing is a real tricky one. being accountable to something or someone, again, is a big problem there. Doing it alone, so having a community around them, thinking about something fun. I think we mentioned it a minute ago about something actually you really want to do.
Yeah.
It has to be something that's going to really pull you in, something you feel like you can commit to. And ideally, there's something kind of time focused about it. There's almost like an end goal. Maybe they're coming in for a certain reason, whatever it may be. But when I think about those things, the structure, accountability, community, something fun and time focused, they're all kind of things that you would, I guess, have and achieve if you signed up for an event.
100%.
Can you see what I mean?
100%. Yeah, I think it's naturally, because for me, I've always done events, and even like with the members here that have ended up doing events, like you said, having that goal, whether it's 2, 3, 5, 6 months ahead, it enables you to tick off so many other things. Like you might end up completely changing your body shape without having to really think about it, because you're training in a structured way, you've met like-minded people, so you're pushing yourself in those sessions, you're then eating better because you've got this structure in place and you want to fuel your body to feel more energized. So many things just kind of check off the back of you actually just signing up for a half marathon, or you signing up to do a doubles high rocks in 5 months time, that I think is only a beneficial thing to do.
Just to come off of that as well, after doing affects with Amy, I think it's very important that we self-reflect and not use it as, right, this was so bad, I can't believe I've done so bad at this, and just say, I could have done it better, this is what I'm going to do to get it better. And one of those things was definitely like running. Me doing affects has just shown me, okay, I need to get better at this. And if you say to yourself, okay, I can put a plan in place to do that, rather than beating yourself up about it, like you said, other things help you get better at the weaknesses. And for me, it was definitely running, so you can compare that a little bit better. So don't be too harsh on yourself if you're a newbie. It's just like, okay, the coach has said this, I'm going to write it down. Next time I come in, I'm going to execute that. It's one thing at a time rather than focus on many things.
You mentioned about having a coach there. How important do you think it would be to have a coach in these scenarios? Is it something that you need? Is it something that's just nice to have? Like, where does the coach really come in with this?
I think a coach definitely helps. I mean, you mentioned the accountability side of things a while back, and I didn't even think of it when I was thinking about for myself. But so I think that's an element that everyone definitely needs, and you might be self-accountable, but you might also need that external accountability, which is why somewhere like a gym like this really helps. But then also, I think there is like a level of expertise that a coach brings. So depending on what you're doing and what you're signing up for, it might be that you need somebody to write the program, give you structure, and then actually give you coaching feedback on what you're doing. So I definitely think that there's for sure a role to play. And even like I know when Cass did his triathlon, even though he's completely well versed in like strength and conditioning, that's not his skill set, so he hired a triathlon coach. I think that the more specific that you get and the more far away that is from where you're at and your knowledge, then I think it's definitely plays a massive role.
I also think there's no, like, you don't have to be an elite athlete to have a coach.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is, like you said, Cass, no offense to Cass, but he's not an elite athlete. We're talking top 1%. He needed a coach to get him to a certain goal. And it's like, as a newbie, sometimes you think, I can do it by myself. I can go to the gym, go into the treadmill. Whereas in actual fact, having a coach there to just guide you, like you said, is what you need. Yeah. And if that coach is not going to push you to extremes and make you work out 7 days a week, 2 times a day, it's not going to do that. It's just finding a plan that works for you. Again, like you said earlier, something that's realistic. That's what a coach can do for you. And if you can understand that, get a coach. It's game changer, I think. Game changer.
For sure.
100%. In your experiences in, again, different platforms and stuff that you've kind of been involved in when it comes to competition, how important has the community element been of it? Obviously coaches and stuff are great, but they're not always going to be there. That community is always going to be there. It's on the competition floor. How much of that has, I guess, almost sometimes I guess the community can act like the coach. They can help you share ideas and whatever. How much has the community really helped you in the past and kind of shaped where you are now?
for me, it's been like, I'd say completely vital, and probably it was firstly the reason why I got into it. Like, I had a group of us when we were, it's like 10 years ago, when we started doing obstacle course races, and we always trained together, we went to the competitions together. So again, if you have those kind of slight nerves, or you're a bit worried on the day, like, you've got your friends around you essentially that are just hyping you up and making you feel better. And I think they pushed me to do loads more things than I wouldn't have done or wouldn't have even thought about without them. I think just going to competitions and training for something with someone that you know, whether they're skilled in it or not, I just think makes the experience so much better.
And even just random people as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Liam will tell you as well, there's people just shouting at you on the run. Who are you? I don't even know you. But it's just that community there just makes you want to do it again, because you know, someone random, even if you're going there by yourself, someone's there to support you.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel that is, I think it's one of the reasons that I kind of initially fell in love with CrossFit. I think from the kind of a team sports background as well. There's something about, like, say, you might not know the person or anyone there whatsoever, but knowing that person's going through the same thing as you and almost like suffering the same as you, I think it really ties people together. Did you find that in CrossFit?
100%. It's just like, you've probably got, 30 seconds left on the clock, and you're on death's door, you're in the biggest pain cave you can ever imagine, but you've got 5-10 people saying, you need to keep moving, go, just move. And it flips a switch and you just go. It's crazy.
Well, Amy's standing there shouting, it's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt. I'll do it. Never forget that.
On that initiation, there needs to be on a t-shirt, 100%. It definitely needs to be on a t-shirt.
But I think that 100% gets so much more out of you. I mean, I think if someone's shouting at me, like telling me to get up and do another burpee on high rocks, or, try and overtake that person, it's like, those people push you on to do way more than you could in your own mind, whether that's training or on the competition floor. I think
you say that. I said that to my wife before. I'm like, go on, babe, keep going. She goes, shut up. And you know I'm telling the truth though as well. Like, no, stop it, stop talking, just leave me alone. Why do you keep coming back to events? Because you've done a lot, fit, strong, healthy, like Dills, you won't mind me saying, you're not really a runner. Like, ridiculously strong, fantastic calisthenics and moving weight. Why put yourself in a position to do a half marathon? Why put yourself in that out of your comfort zone like that, other than the fact that Kai said that we were all doing it?
Facts. I think it's just me knowing that I want to get better at what I'm not good at. It's just, I've always been like that. And I think I can tie this into my asthma as well. If I don't do these sort of things that don't make me stronger, especially in my lungs, my asthma is just going to take over. And if I let it take over, I might go into a rut and think, I can't do anything. And no, I need to say to myself, my body's not going to control what I can do. I'm going to find a way to do it. So hence why I keep doing these things like a high rocks, or especially the half marathon, because there's just no end to it. And why not? You only live once. You might as well just do it all. Why not?
So describe the feeling, I guess, that you will have. I'm trying to get you to think about that in the future now. So you cross that finish line, half marathon, run Reigate in, what time did you say? Like
one? I want to get under 2 hours.
What? Easy.
Under 2 hours, you've put a load of work in, something you wouldn't normally do. Describe that kind of feeling when you cross the finish line.
So I did it. Like, I always think back to there's a TikTok and it says it goes back to the past, like, did you just say we're doing this? And it's just like, if I look back to 15-year-old me, when I had probably the worst asthma attack I've ever had, nearly lost my life from it, and I'm now crossing the finish line. 15-year-old me would never have thought that can happen, but it's just like all this hard work, you just proved everyone wrong. You just proved everyone wrong, and it's just like, I've done it, I've achieved it, I've proved myself wrong as well.
And I think sometimes though, if you like, because that is, I'd say run Reigate for you is pretty outside of your comfort zone, but say you were already, running half marathons, not saying that wouldn't then still feel really good, but the feeling just feels so much better when it's that bit more further than what you think you could do. Like if you're already running 8-9k and then you do a 10k, probably not going to feel quite as elated as if you'd had to then do couch to 5k first to then try and get a 10k. I think if you can push it a bit further in terms of what you think you can do, then the feeling once you've done it is way more.
Yeah, 100%. You mentioned there was about like your asthma and stuff, I guess. So let's use, I guess for both of you, a lot of past experiences, personal experiences. Let's say someone is now, they're good to go. Like their motivation is there. They want to click like book now on whatever it is, a High Rocks or whatnot. Like, yeah, I'm all in. It's 9 months away, 10 months away, whatever. They got a plan, they got a coach. It's not always gonna be plain sailing. What challenges and barriers can someone expect to face along the way from your experience?
Life. I mean, I think I signed up to High Rocks. I can't remember if I'd had Layla or not. Anyway, I was second baby basically, and I was like, I need something to focus on. I knew at that point that the run up to training was never going to be able to be perfect. It would be impossible to be perfect because I knew I'd have a newborn. I knew I would have some sleepless nights. And also just new babies are unpredictable, which is quite annoying about them. I find like it takes them a little while to get into their kind of routines and for you to then get some structure back in your life. So I think that yeah, life is a barrier, but I think you have to know that you're not going to have a perfect run up into it. It's impossible. Even without babies, you know, something could come up in work. You could get ill for 2 weeks. Like Daisy, just before the marathon, she was unwell for like 3 weeks and then moved house. Like these are things that just crop up, but I think you just have to try and adapt and overcome. And you almost like, you have the training program, you have the whatever block it is, a 12-week block, 16-week block. And within that block, there are going to be weeks that don't go to plan, and you just kind of have to adapt week on week. Do I need to tweak this? Do I need to change this? Actually, do I need to have a bit of a deload because I'm feeling pretty crap? Or you just have to kind of constantly overcome, and it's fine. And you're still going to get there. You're still going to do the thing, even without a completely perfect plan in the lead up to it.
And I think it highlights the importance of having a coach. With what Amy just said, like life can get really busy, and if you're doing that by yourself, it can get very, very confusing, but also you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do now. When you have that professional there to fall back on, you can tell them, like if you're my coach, JT, the next month I'm going to be really like traveling with work, a lot of holidays. All right, what hotel are you going to? Have they got a gym? Cool, I want to set you a program. If they've got a treadmill, we can do some runs, just little things like that. Mm-hmm. It's just emphasize why, if you're going to do something, get yourself a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any specific things that you've had to implement to help overcome those barriers? Because I think there's two ways of looking at barriers. There's obviously the ones that just crop up out of nowhere and you might need a plan B. But there's also the kind of barriers, like you say, that you know you're going to be facing them. Could be childcare, could be whatever, could be going out for runs with a pram. Anything specific that you've had to implement, whether it be because you need to think fast on your feet or because you know that you can see it in the future and you know you've got a plan for it?
I think sometimes you just, something is always better than nothing. Like if you always have to have that plan for when the workout doesn't go perfectly, and also, to think that sometimes not working out is also a better option. So like, it's a hard balance, and it's one of those things that you learn over time, and it's only learnt through experience of doing more events or doing more competitions, where you kind of like, okay, I might need to tweak the program here. I might need to I probably only get half of my session in today. What are the most important things I can get done? Or have you woken up and you feel like you've been hit by a bus? Actually, do you know what? It's better if I get to bed at 8 o'clock tonight. That's going to be the best thing to know. And it's a hard one to comment on. That's why I think I paused then, because it takes a bit of time to kind of figure that out and understand what's the right thing to do. Because if you'd asked me the question 5 years ago, I probably would have said, "Oh, just do the thing. I need to train 7 days a week. So, you know, even if I get 3 hours sleep, I'd rather do that." Whereas now I've got a bit of a broader approach, and one where I kind of understand that you don't always need to train like a beast, because recovery is everything as well.
Yeah, like even now, if I relate it to myself, the past couple of days, sleep has been horrible. I think I'm averaging like 3, maybe even 4, if that, over the last like 5-6 days. And because of that, I haven't trained for 3 days now. Normally I train on Sunday, Monday, and today I haven't trained. It's because I understand that my body's not the greatest. I'm tired, so I'm probably going to get injured if I do train. I'm not aware, and I'd rather put my energy into stuff like obviously work, where my energy is needed, than training and just feeling like absolute rubbish and just going backwards instead of forwards. So what Amy said is spot on. Like, you have to understand when you need to take a step back, because ultimately that will allow you to take a couple steps forward in the end.
I think it's really interesting because you just touch on the fact that there's kind of two different mindsets there. There's the older mindset of, well, I've got a plan, I'm going to have to stick to it, and nothing else matters. It's just kind of get shit done. That is just plan A, route A, full steam ahead, nothing's changing. But obviously now things have changed a little bit, mindsets changed, lifestyle's changed. Now we're on that kind of, well, maybe sleep's more of a priority, maybe actually a bike's better than a run or whatever. Was it just lifestyle for you, like lifestyle changes that kind of made that happen, or was it your approach to, I guess, different training methodologies, like a knowledge thing that's kind of changed your mind on that? Kind of what triggered it?
Yeah, I think, well, I had a big wake-up call, actually. So that was a good trigger point for me. So I was working in a gym in West London, probably, I don't even know how many years ago, say 8 years ago, something like that. I was training really hard. I was actually going to train for the strong woman competition that our member Amy did recently. So I was training for that. I was working crazy hours and travelling for work. So I was getting probably like average 4 hours sleep a night, working, I don't know, say 50, 60 hours a week at the gym. And when I look back at the programme that I had, and to be honest, I'm not going to out the coach at all, but looking back at the programme, it was ridiculous, the programme that I had. Really heavy barbell work, like 2-hour sessions spliced in between a 15-hour day of work. Like, I actually did, in the training to lead up to that, and end up herniating a disc in my back. But, you know, the writing's on the wall. It's clearly going to happen at some point, because if I look at what was going on and how intense that was, it was just stupid that I expected to be able to turn up to the event and do well. Like, it was like a reality check that I got injured, didn't do the competition, and I was like, actually, you know what, actually, this approach to this whole thing was probably wrong. Then got a hip injury. So I think it was, sometimes you have to get the setback, get the knockback, to then realise, actually, okay, maybe there's a different way to approach this. And yeah, then I had kids, and you almost don't have a choice but to be a bit more flexible. But I think, yeah, having the injury was a massive wake-up call.
I think for me, the wake-up call was, as I got more knowledgeable in the coaching space, I started to understand more, like, so training methodologies and just becoming more mature. I was very immature. I'd be like, yeah, it's all right, I'll go out all night and I'll go train, I'll do an hour session. It was just very immature. And now that I understand the knowledge behind things, how the body works, how important sleep is, food, nutrition, all of that, it's just like, it just totally rewraps my whole thought about, okay, I've got this coming up. You know that this might happen, this might happen, this might happen, you might feel this way, that way. It's just knowing these things, so when you get to that point, or it does happen, you're ready for it, you know? Whereas before, I just didn't think it would ever happen because I was young and dumb, you know? Indestructible.
Yeah, those are the days.
Probably were a bit more indestructible, to be fair, as well. You can get away with more when you're younger.
I feel like I've always been made of bone china, so I definitely haven't been indestructible at all. But when we think about, like, the barriers, I've written a few things down here, like injury we've just touched on there, time restraints because of obviously life, family, work, kids, whatever it may be. One of the biggest ones I think you just touched on it there about going out all night, was obviously sacrifices with social events and things like that. How much of a part does that play, do you think? How much do people really need to say no? Or does it just come down to, you know, the reason that they're doing the event, they're going there to win the thing versus going there to take part, just do themselves proud? Like, how strict does someone need to be in the lead up to an event?
I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't. You've done all this work to prepare for this event or this goal, and then a couple of days before you throw it all out the window because you've had 5 glasses of wine. Like, there's no point doing all that training then, because now on the day you're just going to feel absolutely horrible. It's different if you're sick and ill, that's different, but you have a choice, and it's very easy to say no to things. People like to say it's not. No, it really is. You can just say, do you want a drink? No, I'll have water. There you go. I just said no. So it's all about, like you said, saying no is, it's on people sometimes, and you have to take accountability for that, for sure.
Yeah, I think as well with time. Also, again, there's a bit of a spectrum to it. If you're like going for the elite 15, like they're probably not drinking at all, and it all depends. You can still have the lifestyle that you want, but there's an element for everyone, I think, where you naturally do make some sacrifices because you have an event lined up, and depending on how far you want to take it, depending on how good you want your prep to be for it, will depend on how many of those sacrifices you make. But I think that you would be doing yourself a disservice, as Dill said, if you were to do all this hard training and then, go out 3 nights before.
Like if you're sorry.
Go on. I think everyone naturally, it's a hard one to comment on properly, because everyone will have what feels right to them, and I think you should just do the thing that you want to do. Well, you might in some prep end up having some drinks along the way, and no one's to tell you not to do that. But then at the same time, you got to get to the start line and be like, okay, well, am I happy with how I prepped for this? Will I be annoyed at myself if I look back and see what my lead up prep was like? And if so, then maybe you need to scale things back a little bit. And like Dill said, don't be afraid to like go to places or go to parties or whatever and say no. But the way you do it is only going to be how you want to do it. It's not for us to sit here and say like, don't ever drink anymore.
Yeah. I feel like with me and my friends, obviously my friends like to go, we like to go out. They like to have a drink, a bit too much, but they like to have a drink. But when we was leading up to ethics, there were a couple of nights where I went out and I literally said no. Yeah. And sometimes we can be blind to the fact that the problem is staring us right in the face, but because we like to use the excuse, I'm social though, social. It's you. It's you. I could have easily got drunk. What's going on? Go to ethics now and I can't do nothing. I've let Amy down.
Yeah, that's true.
Not only myself, I don't want to let her down because she won't let me live with it. But it's just stop being blind. You know what the problem is. True. Just fix it.
Have you had it before where actually you saying no in maybe a social situation to alcohol or food or whatever has actually inspired someone else?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't know. I think I'm quite lucky in the fact that if I don't want to do something, I don't do it. Or if I do want to do something, I do it. I'm not kind of too worried about what people think. I don't know. Maybe.
I think
it's hard to tell.
After a night out, maybe one of the lads have said, "Why are you so awake?" I was like, "I didn't drink. Like this feels nice.
Yeah.
I've had football on the Sunday at 12 o'clock and I don't feel hungover because I didn't drink. Yeah. Everyone else is just hanging."
Yeah.
Maybe after that they thought, if it didn't feel like that after a night out and he didn't drink, maybe I should try it. So I'm hoping so, but no one's ever come up to me and be like, "How come you don't drink?" Yeah.
I think we've seen it. I've seen it with clients in the past, and we see it in here on a monthly basis actually, which is fantastic to see and hear, where someone embarks on something fitness related, whether it be an event or just joining us or whatever it may be, and it starts to have a positive impact on those people around them. So
100%.
We say about doing an event for you, and 100% you absolutely should do, but the knock-on effect that it can have to those people around you, those closest to you, friends, family, children, whatever, is also something that you really shouldn't underestimate, because you saying no to that one drink might then trigger a friend of yours to do the same thing or sign up for something else. You're like, well, Dills did that. Like, I could probably have a crack at that. And then slowly but surely you'd be surprised on how infectious that could be.
Yeah, that's so true. I hadn't actually thought about it as being inspiring, but actually thinking about this place, everyone inspires each other, and it's amazing. That's why I think more and more people are doing things, because they see someone like them doing it and they're like, oh, actually I could do that. And or they've got these amazing results, they're looking incredible, I wonder what they're doing. And they find out what they're doing and they sort of want a bit of that. So I think it's only positive when you're around those kind of people that are a bit more disciplined or going after the thing that seems like you're not able to get after. I think that it's really, really inspiring. I get inspired by the members often.
100%. So coming back to that list of the kind of the barriers that I wrote down earlier, managing family and friends, obviously balancing just everything in life full stop. So I think it comes down to making sure that you have, again, that plan A, whether it be around training, you've got to get out for a run at some point, deals over the weekend, where is that going to take priority? Is it we need to get up a little bit earlier on a Saturday, stay up a little bit later to get something done, whatever it needs to be. So just understanding your diary. For the most part, we understand kind of what we need to be looking at there. Financial costs as well, which I learned a very, very big lesson when I did a triathlon.
Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier.
We were just talking about the
Ironman.
Honestly, I literally thought, I said to, who was I saying, talking to? Someone had done a few Ironmans. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to rock up, shorts, t-shirt, pretty much like Arashi from surfing. I've got a mountain bike in the garage I'm going to use. And he looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, it's only a sprint. I'll be absolutely fine. And he was like, trust me, you do not want to be doing that. So I was around Hever Castle and I was decked out in all the latest kit. By the time I started that race, I was money down. It is crazy. So it's making sure you take that into account. Definitely. So it comes back to a point we made earlier. It's got to be something that you truly feel invested in, something you want to do, but also something that if I spent quite a bit of money on it, do I really want to go and throw that all away on a night out, as we mentioned a second ago? Travel can be a negative thing, more for obviously financial costs, but also a big positive there as well. Thinking about where it's going to be and how I get all my kit there. Slow progress and frustration can be a big thing. We see that, and I know I've had that a lot through injuries, etc. And I've got that word failure again. You mentioned it right at the top of the podcast we did about having, like, it's a real big problem for people. How do you get over that fear of failure?
You got to prepare. I feel like you have to prepare. Like, if you don't prepare, I mean, you could prepare and still fail. That's the thing. But so long as you've prepared, you're ready for it. Like, you're ready for it. If the worst comes to worst, I've prepared. That's what you know.
I think you can't. With failure as well, you've got to do it. The whole failure thing it's never really about failing anyway. Once you do the thing, there'll be always elements that you think you can improve. Even elite people that do these things, there's always areas of weaknesses that they find off the back of doing these things. But if you do more of these events, then you'll be able to kind of get out of your head a little bit more and not have the fear so much about, okay, am I going to be good enough? Are people going to be looking at me? People are going to be judging me? You'll do one and you'll be like, okay, that bit didn't go so well. This bit did go better than I thought. And then you'll be able to reflect. And then the next time you go into it, you're a bit more prepared, like Dill was saying, have a bit more experience about what it's going to be like. Because I think a lot of it is around that anticipation of like the unknown, not knowing how you're going to feel in the moment. You're not going to know how you react to pressure, or not pressure, but like the feeling of, being in a competitive environment. So I think you have to just do the thing to understand that it gets easier every time that you go into these things. And having a little bit of nerves around doing it is good. Like, you just got to be able to harness those nerves. And I think even when we did Athex, I was like so pumped and I was so gassed to do it. We'd been watching our members all day. And so I was like so ready. But then I actually got to the strength and I got on the squat. And I remember the first rep, I didn't brace at all because I was just like, had to settle myself. So I think you learn in that moment of like, okay, like a little bit of nerves is good, getting hyped up for it is good, but you'll figure things out along the way.
Yeah, 100%. The thing with failure, there's a couple of things with failure. A lot of it, I think we put failure upon ourselves, and what I mean by that is, I think you choose if it's a failure or not to a certain degree. And one, I guess to a certain degree, most recently, I come back to Luke and I's kind of first high rocks that we did, and I've spoken in summits about this. And I guess this now, kind of, we start bringing in stretch goals. I'm going to put that out there, and you may not know what a stretch goal is, but I'll try and explain it. So a stretch goal is something that you put out there and you set a goal that's intentionally tough, intentionally going to be quite uncomfortable. And obviously Luke setting out sub 60 for us first time round in doubles high rocks, which we're still aiming for, hopefully this year, third time lucky. We wanted sub 60. We went out there 108, which technically is a failure, really. Like, from what we wanted, it was a failure. And I was pissed. Like, I was not happy. Luke was not happy, but it drove us obviously to go again. I think the amount of positives that came off of quote unquote failure in that attempt were unparalleled. There was X amount of months of consistent training. I dropped 10 kilos in body fat for the most part. Aerobically, I got fitter. My running went up through the roof. I got to train with a partner for X amount of months. I got to go to do a venue that was amazing, experience something brand new, meet new people. When you start taking into account all of these positives, I don't really see it as a failure. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I never view them as failure. I mean, like, there's always stuff that doesn't go well in these events that I do. Even if I do okay at them, I'm like, oh, I could have done that better or that better. But the feeling you get from doing it and how accomplished you feel, like that moment of doing it, and like you said, all the learnings off the back of it, or the lead up, the structure that you've had, the amazing, because it's not just about that event itself, it's like all the training leading up to it, and the discipline that it brings, the excitement for the event that it brings, that I think that, yeah, I literally never view them as a failure. And I really haven't always done very well with them, it sounds like. So I think, yeah, but you have to do more of them to make yourself feel like that. Because if you only ever did one in 10 years, then you could like remunerate over it and be like, oh, it's just really bad, and I'm not good at this, and I'm not. But just do more of them, and then
you have to be uncomfortable to grow. Like, there's no way you can't do the same thing every single time and get better. It's impossible. So, in order to be uncomfortable and failure, they go hand in hand. They're best buddies, and you got to understand that. Even if it's just something as simple as I want to track my food, and you find that uncomfortable, at the end of the day, it's going to make you better. Yeah, and I remember when we did the rower at FX.
Oh God, you died.
I left Amy like 20 calories, and I was like, sprint, go. I was done. When I said
I think your fulls were full send. Full send,
yeah? 20
full
calories.
Send, 20 calories. It's quite a lot.
I will never forget that. And I'm like, I really just told her to full send 20 calories. Whereas now, I know that when we do it next time, I'm going to give her a little bit more. Like, I needed to see how, because she was done. Like, that's a lot of calories, 20 calories at the end of the workout. So now that we've gone through that and failed, technically, we've kind of learnt from that and thought, okay, this is how we're going to split it up. I'm going to work better at my rowing and my cardio to make sure that doesn't happen again. So, yeah, you have to be uncomfortable to get better, 100%.
I think there is a picture somewhere that actually marks that momentous occasion. I think you're like sprawled out on the floor, I think, pretty much, and Dodge is like going all set, like full send ham on the rower at some point. We got to find that.
People were actually concerned for your breathing as well at that point.
I was busted.
You had attracted attention.
I was going to ask you this, Dills, because I know you have played the guitar in the past.
Yeah.
Right. Because I wanted to give an example of something that wasn't necessarily fitness related, and I kind of spoke in the summit very briefly about playing the guitar. And the reason I use that is it's out of a comfort zone for me. It's something that requires time, patience, practice, getting a lot of stuff wrong, and I can really kind of tie in the idea of, I guess, a stretch goal of trying to suss out or play a piece of music that is way above my pay grade. Like, have you been in that situation before?
Yeah, 100%.
So I was in it recently, and I'm very, very lucky. I have a coach teacher in this kind of stuff, and there's a piece of music there, and I was like, this is way too, in your words, there was techie for me, right? But it was something that I failed, messed up, but slowly but surely there was progress. But then when I actually went back and started playing all the other stuff, like the easier stuff, the straight open chords, like C's, G's, D's, I was like, well, this is easy. This is great. So something that actually appears on the surface of it, way above us, way too tough, really challenging, constantly failing, quote unquote. When you go back and then, let's call it do life and do all the easy stuff, actually things are so much better. You then realise how much you've learned.
I agree. It's like with the guitar, it's such a interesting instrument as well, because I think people downplay how hard it is to play a guitar, you know.
I mean, any instrument is pretty hard.
It's so tough, but when you look at a piece of music and you think, what is going on? Like, your first look at it is like, I can't do it. There's no way, but you haven't even tried. You haven't even tried to put a plan in place to try and tackle it. You've just, from a blanket point of view, you just said, I just can't do it. But when you break it down, it's like, all right, cool, that's an E, that's an F sharp, that's an F minor, cool, yep. You start to figure it out, and it's like, you can relate that back to fitness. Walk into a new gym, you're like, I can't do this, there's no way. But then when you break it down with a coach, right, we're gonna focus on 3 sessions a week. You're gonna do this thing once a week. You're gonna perfect that for at least 2 to 3 weeks, next thing. And it's the same thing as the guitar, you're gonna perfect this, next bar. And yeah, so that's a good analogy. Yeah.
And it's like being with anything, I always think it's better to be the worst in an environment or a team or a gym of people that are better than you. You always go, is it big fish in a small pond, is that the phrase? But it's always better to be around better people that are going to push you, stretch you that little bit further, make you think you can do things that you didn't think you'd be able to do before, rather than being like the big dog against loads of people that are, not as good potentially. So I think it's
100%.
important to be around that environment.
Han's going to be finding out about the guitar pretty soon, from what I understand. The defo, I like it. Yeah. You're going to play us a little guitar solo at the end of your half marathon. Yeah, run the two alongside each other. Yeah? You heard it here first. It's happening. Reigate, get ready. Physical transformations and goals, we think body composition, muscle mass, body fat percentage, things that we really, really focus on here. And I appreciate I've skipped away from the guitar quite rapidly there, but I'm thinking about that. One of the things I learned, I think probably a little bit too late, was that if you tap into something physical, i.e. an event or a challenge, a lot of the time the body composition, the aesthetics, I guess, shall I put it, they come secondary. I think often when people get into a fitness thing, they think, I must look a certain way, in swimwear or whatever, and that's great. In your experiences, how important has it been for someone, or even yourselves, to focus on something as a physical outcome, but then the aesthetic, I guess, has then just been a byproduct of that?
Yeah, for me massively, but then loads of clients that I've worked with, not being fixed. I think the natural reaction is to be fixated on how you look, especially coming into this industry. People often sign up to a gym because they want to change how they look, and I completely understand that. But I think that when you sign up to an event and have something to plan for, like we talked about earlier, all of the things that come underneath it, from the getting up at whatever time to train, to training X amount of times a week, then naturally you want to fuel your body. You're thinking, how can I fuel my sessions better? How can I recover better? That means I need to look at my protein. And so all these things happen without you really trying to think about how your body looks. And then, you look at yourself 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year down the line, and your body can be completely different because you had this kind of discipline and you treated your body like it was going to fuel you to get to where you wanted to get to. So I think that, I've seen so many transformations that haven't focused on being a body transformation. They've been, we've done high rocks or we've done a half marathon.
So it was like, for you, when you think about getting into calisthenics initially, my assumption would be, correct me if I'm wrong, that you like the idea of doing the pull-ups, the muscle-ups, the dips, all that kind of stuff. The physique and the lats came afterwards, as opposed to, that guy's got massive lats, I want massive lats, and then I'm going to learn that.
I didn't realise, this might sound so vain, but when I was really doing calisthenics every day, I didn't realise how big my lats were. It wasn't even, I didn't even think about it. I didn't really look in the mirror like that. I was like, all right, I've got pull up, right, what's next? Muscle up. I've got muscle up, all right, weighted muscle up. I've got pull up, it's just these little things, and then before you know it, you just look at the odd video and you think, oh, that's a little lat there, decent little lat, and it's just the byproduct of it, 100%. And I also want to touch on one of the members here, was Paula. When she first joined, she couldn't even, I think the deadlift was 30 kg and it was a struggle. Now she's doing chin-ups. Her body fat is down, and it was just because she focused on bettering herself rather than going for a certain image. And now she looks amazing. So if you focus on just making it a routine and sticking to that routine, the byproduct of it, you'll just see the difference. Definitely.
I think it opens a lot of doors and new opportunities and new skills and stuff that we never even thought were possible. Like you were saying, like your 15-year-old self thinking, I'm never going to be able to do that. So it opens a lot of opportunities. But I guess the question for you both would be, what is the one biggest thing that you think you've learned or taken away from times of competition? And not just the competition themselves, by the way, the whole working towards it, everything. What's the one biggest takeaway? I know what mine is, but I'll leave mine till last.
I think for me, anything is possible. Anything. Honestly, I never thought I could even run 1K, 2K, let alone going on a bike for 12 minutes and then running 12K, running in 12 minutes afterwards. I just running in general, I never thought I could do at a decent-ish level. And now that I've ran 10K by myself, I've ran 12K, I think I ran 14K the other day. I was like, what? Anything is possible. Just put your mind to it. Definitely.
I think from doing quite a lot of these events and competitions, if you could bottle up that feeling of once you've done it in that moment and how that feels, like that is medicine for life. Like that, for me, there's not really any other feeling that trumps it. I probably should say childbirth and all these things.
Can't relate with that.
But they are just such incredible feelings because they make you feel honestly unstoppable, like so empowered, completely confident. That for me, that's the addictive nature of it, and it makes me then want to train and do all the other things around it to get to that point, because that feeling is just there's nothing that matches it for me.
See, mine, I guess, kind of comes into that a little bit. Mine is that you need to understand, and I've mentioned this before on the podcast, in a different setting actually, but it still applies, that the confidence that you will gain, that feeling you mentioned, only comes after doing the thing.
Yeah.
Because like many people, I'm sure, and this even goes back to, playing sports around the time that I was at school, extracurricular clubs, all that kind of stuff. I was like, I'm just not confident to go and do that. I'm not confident to go and, play in that position or play in that team. But actually, I just wish I knew that the confidence would be there. Once I'd stepped up and done that thing and played that role and been in that team, and all right, okay, it wouldn't necessarily be the most comfortable thing because I'd probably mess it up a fair bit. But until you actually put yourself in that arena and you kind of fail and you kind of face that fear, you're never really going to have that confidence. But I think you build it along the way, but until you see the end result, you then really understand, you really realise all the confidence and stuff that you've kind of built up in the background. Would that resonate with you too?
100%. And it just keeps building the more things that you do, and the more you keep going that little bit more outside of your comfort zone. Oh, I can't do that. You did it, and you did better than you probably thought. That's what's next.
Yeah. I think it's a really important lesson outside of anything to do with fitness as well. Like, take away the events and stuff. This is just a life thing.
Yeah.
Or guitar, relationships, whatever, jobs. I think if anyone can really understand that confidence does come after doing the thing.
It's that new job feeling. I remember my first session here. I was like, oh my gosh, nervous, man. Nervous, 6 people, strangers. They don't know me, I don't know them. But once I got that first session out the way, I was like, yeah, I can do this. It's just, obviously, like you said, the nerve is how you use them nerves. But just put yourself in the deep end. If I didn't say to you, I want the next session, I'll always try to pull it away. Just do it. Do it. It's not as bad as you think.
Yeah, great.
So you're both, as we mentioned, well versed in kind of competition. We know you've got comps potentially coming up. Give me one thing that you've learnt from all the times, all the comps you've done, the one thing, or just one of the things that you're going to do differently in your prep for the next comp that maybe you either haven't done in the past, or you're just going to tweak it and change it through things that you've learnt in the past.
I'm going to take my time.
What does that mean though?
I'm not going to I'm not going to peak too early. I'm not going to try and get fit quick. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to make sure that if it says I need to run a 6K, I'm not running a 10K. I stick to the plan. If it says I'm meant to be benching 90, I'm not going to try and go for a 1 rep max. I'm going to bench 90 for 3, whatever I need to do. So I'm just going to take my time because I've got a plan there. If it's 9 months, that's the plan. If it's shorter than that, that's what. Take your time. Don't rush.
Trust the plan, trust the process.
Trust it.
Always. Yeah, I think similar to that, but really truly working on your weaknesses, because I think I try to do it, and often the thing that I need to work on is my running. Like you do like a high rocks or half marathon. Funny that you need to work on your running, but I think because I'm naturally quite a jack of all trades, I like to do a bit of everything. I want to always, like, the minute I'm trying to get a muscle up, I'm also trying to build my squat, I'm also trying to run. So you'd appreciate that you can't necessarily do everything all of the time, but also really what are the things that you need to hone in on. For me at the minute, that's running, so I need to put some time in to run. And if that means a couple of other things need to kind of take a step back, then that's fine. But yeah, like truly working on your weaknesses, I think, for me.
Yeah, mine, you kind of mentioned it actually earlier, mine is actually really thinking about prioritising recovery more than anything else.
Yeah.
It's always been kind of what you mentioned there was like, oh, well, if I can do the 7K at a 5:20 pace, but I feel all right on 4:35, 4:30 or whatever. Nah. Relax, chill, stick to the plan, enjoy the rest recovery, and in the days where I need to peak, I'll peak, and just prioritise sleep, prioritise the nutrition side of it. I've learned the hard way, unfortunately. So what is your biggest piece of advice for that person who is maybe listening to this, we've semi-convinced them, fingers kind of hovering over that buy now or click now button? What's the biggest bit of advice?
I always say this, like, you only live once.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
I mean, life is not for certain, and I don't want to be deep, but you just never know what tomorrow brings. So just click that button, book it, go for it.
Say something. But you'll never regret it. I've yet to meet a person that's done any event and gone, I want my money back, no matter how much it's cost, because, like I said, the feeling that you get from it is just so worth it. But the more you think about doing it, the less you'll do it. And I think if you're in an environment as well, so sorry, I'm saying two things, but if you're in an environment as well, like a T2 Fit or a group of people that are interested in training, it really, really helps, because they will help you kind of go, just do it. I'm booking this tomorrow, should we just book it? Like with the Run Reigate, there's so much peer pressure in the group about getting it booked, that eventually we probably got 5 more people signed up than we would have if that person was just going to book it on their own. Like, would Cass have ever booked that if it was just him?
No, I think we're still waiting for some people.
Just wait. Yeah. I was about to say.
I didn't want to say. Don't want to say anything, but
don't call them out.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Look, thank you very much for your time, both of you. All right, I want a team name within the next 7 days. We'll get it out there alongside this for sure. Again, comments, let us know team names for these two. But there you have it. Hopefully that has somewhat convinced you to click that button. You will not regret it. Just do it. You only live once. Share it, like it, subscribe, and we'll see you again very, very soon.